Right. Let's talk about China, a country often seen through the lens of its rapid economic growth, bustling cities, and tightly controlled society. But beneath the surface, something deeper is stirring. When you think of protest in China, you probably picture brave individuals holding up blank sheets of paper, or the tense standoffs in Hong Kong that made headlines around the world. These are the images of visible defiance, loud, risky, and exactly the kind of open challenge that authoritarian regimes are built to crush, quickly and decisively. But what if the most significant rebellion isn't happening on the streets at all? What if it's unfolding quietly, behind closed doors, in bedrooms, on couches, in the silent resignation of millions of young people who have simply lost faith? While the world's attention is fixed on overt unrest, a quieter, more insidious form of protest is taking root, a rebellion not of slogans and banners, but of apathy and withdrawal from a system that feels unchangeable. China's youth, once expected to power the nation's rise and fulfill the dreams of their parents, are now checking out in droves. They're refusing to play a game they see as rigged from the start, where hard work no longer guarantees a better future. This isn't a protest you can arrest or silence. Its main tactic is simply not trying, not participating, not buying into the official narrative. It's a mass surrender that paradoxically is a declaration of war, a quiet refusal that undermines the very foundations of the system. For decades, the Chinese Communist Party's deal was simple: give up political freedom and in return you'll get prosperity, stability, and a shot at a better life. But for today's youth, that promise rings hollow. The jobs aren't there, the cost of living is rising, and the future feels more uncertain than ever. The result? A crisis of faith that strikes at the heart of the party's legitimacy. A generation quietly questioning whether the old bargain is worth it. When the engine of prosperity sputters and the youth decide to just stay in the tank, refusing to fuel the machine, the entire system is at risk of grinding to a halt. This isn't just an economic downturn, it's an existential threat to the very narrative that has held modern China together for decades. A generation is looking at the grand national ambition and, for the first time in decades, saying, no, thanks. Their silence speaks volumes, and it's a message the world can no longer afford to ignore. What do you call this movement of mass demotivation, when an entire generation seems to step back, take a breath, and collectively decide that maybe, just maybe, the relentless pursuit of success isn't worth the cost? The Chinese internet has a few terms for it, each capturing a different shade of this quiet resistance. The first was tangping, literally, lying flat. It's a phrase that became a rallying cry for those who felt overwhelmed by expectations. Tangping means opting out of the rat race, doing the bare minimum, and rejecting the constant pressure to be a high achiever. It's about refusing to burn out for a system that rarely rewards you back. It's the spiritual equivalent of ignoring your boss's late-night email, forever. It's a silent protest, a way to reclaim your time and sanity. But as the economy worsened and opportunities dried up, tangping evolved into something darker. Bailan, let it rot. Bailan is not just lying flat, it's embracing the decay, a conscious choice to stop trying in a system that feels broken beyond repair. It's a step further, a refusal to even pretend anymore. It's nihilism as a coping mechanism, not laziness. It's a shield against disappointment, a way to survive when hope feels like a luxury. For a generation promised the world but handed debt, dead ends, and endless competition, Bailan is a logical response. It's a way to make sense of broken promises. It's the graduate who gives up after hundreds of job applications, the one who realizes that effort doesn't always equal reward. It's the young professional who ditches a high-stress job for a simpler life, trading ambition for peace of mind. It's the decision to skip marriage and home ownership, to reject milestones that now feel unattainable or meaningless. Bailan is a quiet, personal, and deeply powerful act of rebellion. It's a way to say no without shouting, to resist by simply stepping away. It's a generation looking at the Chinese dream and saying, you can keep it. They're not buying in anymore. And that's a statement in itself. This isn't just a trend, it's a cultural shift. And it's spreading fast, reshaping what it means to live, work, and dream in modern China. How did it get this bad? Much of the blame lies with the government's own heavy-handed policies. The tech industry, once a symbol of innovation and prosperity, was kneecapped by sudden crackdowns. Mass layoffs followed. Then came the private tutoring ban, wiping out a $120 billion industry overnight and leaving millions jobless. And finally, real estate, the main engine of China's growth, collapsed under the weight of debt and government restrictions. When giants like Evergrande defaulted, people's life savings evaporated in unfinished apartments. These weren't just economic blunders, they shattered public faith in the system. The result? 3 of the biggest employers of young, educated people were gutted. The government's attempts to fix problems with a sledgehammer have left a generation adrift. The promise of prosperity has been replaced by fear and uncertainty. The social contract is broken, and the youth are responding by checking out. The consequences are only beginning. The numbers are grim. In 2023, youth unemployment in cities hit over 21%, so high the government stopped publishing the data. Even those with jobs face the brutal 996 culture, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. Burnout is rampant. The cost of working hard is sanity itself. Some young adults become full-time children, paid by parents to stay home because it's better than unemployment. Others take fake jobs just to boost employment stats. It's a Potemkin job market, hollow on the inside. Millions followed the rules, got degrees, and entered the workforce, only to find the jobs aren't there, or the jobs demand everything for little in return. Competition is ferocious. Thousands apply for mediocre civil service roles. The social contract hasn't just been broken, it's been shredded. The result is a generation that sees no point in playing by the old rules, and they're opting out. Behind the statistics are real stories of frustration and disillusionment, lives shaped by relentless pressure, dashed hopes, and a growing sense that the old promises no longer hold true. Take Crystal Gu, a 28-year-old former tech worker in Shanghai, whose journey mirrors that of countless others. She endured the notorious 996 grind, working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. She survived multiple rounds of layoffs, watched colleagues burn out, and finally she quit, completely exhausted and disillusioned. Now, Crystal freelances just enough to get by, embracing the philosophy of Bylan. I'd rather be a happy, useless human, she says, choosing peace over endless hustle. Or look at Dali, a city in Yunnan that's become a haven for those who want to lie flat, a place where young people escape the pressures of big cities. Here, artists, writers, and ex-programmers are building slower, more meaningful lives outside the rat race, finding fulfillment in creativity and community. These aren't isolated cases, they're part of a growing movement. They represent a cultural shift, a quiet rebellion against the relentless pursuit of status and wealth. More and more young people are moving back home, celebrating freedom from mortgages, office politics, and the constant pressure to climb the corporate ladder. Others document their lives on a shoestring, finding joy in simplicity, minimalism, and experiences over consumerism, choosing to live with less, but feel more. In the context of Bylan, these are stories of liberation, not failure. Stories of people reclaiming their time, their happiness, and their sense of self-worth. They're tales of individuals who have looked at the game, weighed the costs, and chosen not to play by the old rules. This is a generation redefining success on its own terms, valuing creativity, connection, and well-being over traditional markers of achievement. They're building parallel communities, forging new paths, and rejecting the state-sanctioned model of what a good life should look like. The movement is growing, quietly, but powerfully. And it's changing the very fabric of Chinese society. One story, one choice at a time. The message is clear. The old dream no longer inspires, and the next generation is searching for something more authentic, more human, and millions are walking away, forging new dreams in the space where the old ones have faded. How does the world's most powerful surveillance state respond? With denial and censorship. Terms like Tangping and Bylan are scrubbed from the internet. Social media accounts promoting them are shut down. State media pushes stories of model youths and hard work. But the message falls flat. Xi Jinping urges young people to eat bitterness, but for many, that's all they've ever known. Censorship goes beyond keywords. Journalists and bloggers face bans or worse for telling the truth. The official line, "The economy is fine. The youth are not disillusioned." But this gaslighting only deepens cynicism. Young people know the truth. They live it every day. The more the government tries to hide reality, the more it validates the Bylan mindset. Censorship doesn't solve the problem, it confirms it. The party's strategy maintains a facade, but the cracks are widening. The youth see through it, and their quiet rebellion grows stronger. Home ownership was once the core of the Chinese dream, a sign of stability and success. Now in cities like Beijing and Shenzhen, apartments cost over 40 times the average annual salary. Even with help from parents, buying a home is out of reach for most. The real estate crisis has made things worse. Millions paid for homes that may never be built. People are left with crushing mortgages and broken promises. Why strive for a home that might never exist? The collapse of the property dream has knocked down other life goals: marriage, family, stability. For many, the only way out is to let it all rot. We're witnessing the implosion of the Chinese dream. Xi Jinping's vision promised national rejuvenation and personal prosperity, but the path, education, job, home, family, is now blocked at every turn. The education system churns out more graduates than jobs. Apartments are unaffordable. Raising a child is out of reach. The dream has become a checklist of impossible tasks, fueling anxiety instead of hope. Bailan and Tangping are a direct rejection of this narrative. If the party can't deliver prosperity, what justifies its power? The ancient mandate of heaven depended on rulers delivering well-being. Today, that means economic opportunity. The generational gap is now a chasm. Older Chinese see youth as lazy, but the young see only burnout and debt ahead. The shared national story is fracturing. The party's legitimacy is at stake. The youth are no longer inspired by the old dream, and the consequences could be profound. The future of China's social contract hangs in the balance. What happens when a nation's most educated generation stages a silent rebellion? This isn't a movement you can crush with force. It's a crisis of morale. A shrinking, aging population and demotivated youth spell economic stagnation. The demographic dividend is over. A demographic drag has begun. The Bailan generation's withdrawal threatens China's economic model and social fabric. Fewer marriages and births will accelerate demographic collapse. The CCP wanted wolf warriors. It got lying flat cats. You can't command ambition or decree passion. The quiet refusal of millions is a more potent challenge to Xi Jinping than any street protest. Can China function without the enthusiastic consent of its youth? We're about to find out.